In the ancient and mysterious land of Uz, there lived a man whose name resonated across the regions for his righteousness and prosperity. His name was Job. He was blameless and upright, a man who feared God and shunned evil. In his life, Job had been blessed with everything a person could hope for: wealth, family, and reputation. But most importantly, Job possessed a steadfast faith in the Almighty. Imagine a life where every corner is touched by abundance. A life so overflowing with blessings that even those who envy you cannot find fault in your character. This was Job's life. But what would happen if all of it were taken away? Would his faith endure? This is the story of Job, a man whose faith was tested beyond imagination. Job's wealth was immense. He owned 7,000 sheep that grazed across his lush pastures, 3,000 camels that carried goods for trade, 500 yoke of oxen that tilled the fertile fields, and 500 donkeys that provided for his household's needs. His estate was so vast that it required a great many servants to manage it, each one loyal to Job because of his just and kind leadership. But Job's pride and joy were his 10 children, 7 sons and 3 daughters. Each son hosted feasts in turn, inviting their siblings to share in the joy. Far beyond the realm of humanity, in the courts of heaven where divine mysteries unfold, a council was convened. The angels presented themselves before God, their radiant forms glowing with celestial light. Among them came Satan, the adversary. Clad in shadow and exuding defiance, he approached the throne of God, and the Lord, in his omniscience, addressed him. "From where have you come?" And Satan answered the Lord and said, "From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it." And the Lord asked him, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." And Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? Strike all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." With these words, the stage was set for a test unlike any other. God, knowing Job's heart, permitted Satan to test him. But there was one condition: Satan could not lay a hand on Job himself. And so, the adversary departed with malicious intent. Back on earth, Job's peaceful life began to crumble in a single, unimaginable day. As Job sat contentedly in his home, a messenger arrived, his face pale with terror. The oxen were plowing, and the donkeys were grazing nearby, when Sabaean raiders attacked. They carried off the animals and put the servants to the sword. "I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." Before Job could process the devastating news, another messenger arrived, breathless. The fire of God fell from the heavens and burned up the sheep and the servants. "I alone have escaped to tell you." As the second messenger spoke, a third arrived, and then a fourth, each with news more harrowing than the last. Finally, Job learned that a mighty wind had struck the house where his children feasted, killing all 10 of them. Imagine the scene: Job, his face ashen with grief, standing amidst a storm of sorrow. The messengers trembled before him, their words hanging heavy in the air. Tears streamed down his face as he tore his robe and shaved his head, acts of profound mourning. But even in his anguish, Job fell to the ground and worshipped, declaring, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." As Satan observed Job's unshaken faith, he returned to the heavenly council. With cunning determination, he sought permission for a deeper affliction. This time, Satan was allowed to harm Job physically, but not take his life. And so, Job's trial grew even heavier. Soon after, painful sores broke out across Job's body, from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. The once strong and dignified Job found himself sitting among ashes, scraping his wounds with a shard of pottery for relief. His body ached, his spirit was weary, yet his lips did not curse God. When his wife, overcome by grief, urged him to abandon his integrity and curse God, Job replied, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?"
Word of Job's suffering spread, and 3 of his friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, came to comfort him. When they saw Job from a distance, they barely recognized him. Overcome with grief, they wept aloud, tore their robes, and sprinkled dust on their heads. For 7 days and 7 nights, they sat with Job in silence, for his pain was too great for words. The silence was profound. The 4 figures sat together under the shadow of a lone, withered tree. Each friend cast sidelong glances at Job, their expressions a mix of sorrow and unease. The air was heavy, the only sound being the faint whisper of wind carrying the scent of ash. After days of silence, Job began to speak, lamenting his birth and questioning his suffering. His words were raw and poignant, echoing the depths of human despair. His friends responded in turn, offering their own interpretations of his plight. Each believed Job's suffering was a result of some hidden sin, urging him to repent. But Job maintained his innocence. The debate stretched over days, growing increasingly heated. Job's voice, though hoarse from sorrow, held firm as he defended his righteousness. His friends, seated around him, gestured passionately, their expressions shifting from sympathy to frustration. Above them, the heavens seemed to darken, reflecting the weight of their discourse. Out of a storm, God spoke. His voice thundered with authority, yet carried a profound sense of majesty. The Lord did not explain Job's suffering but reminded him of his divine wisdom and power. He questioned Job, asking, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation?" God's words revealed the vast gulf between human understanding and divine sovereignty. The storm swirled with a surreal beauty, lightning illuminating the darkened skies. Job knelt in awe and humility as the voice of the Almighty reverberated through the heavens. Every word carried the weight of creation itself, shaking the very ground on which Job knelt. In his humility, Job repented for questioning God's wisdom. The Lord, in his grace, restored Job's fortunes. He blessed Job with twice as much as he had before, 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 donkeys. Job was also blessed with 7 sons and 3 daughters, the most beautiful in the land. Job stands in the midst of a bustling, thriving estate, his face serene. His new family surrounds him, laughter and joy filling the air. The once scarred land is now lush and vibrant, a testament to divine restoration. The story of Job teaches us that faith is not about understanding every trial but trusting God through every storm. Job's unwavering trust in the Lord, even when stripped of all he held dear, reminds us that God's plans are higher than our understanding. And just as Job's faith was ultimately rewarded, so too does God promise to be with us in every valley and to restore us in His perfect time. If this story has inspired you, share it with someone who needs encouragement today. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories from the Bible that remind us of God's faithfulness and love.